Great afternoon, everybody. Great afternoon. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Say hello as you're coming in. It is an amazing Tuesday. And you already know today is Lunchtime Empowerment Talks with Dr. Vaughn. In case you do not know, I am Dr. Shavonna Whitehead. And it's always my privilege, my honor, and my pleasure to come and share with you every Tuesday at 1 p.m. just for a little push, a little encouragement. So come on in the room, like and share this video as you're coming in. I'm going to do the same. A little push, a little encouragement. So come on in the room. And so it's an amazing day. Indeed, it is. And so I hope that you've had an amazing day thus far. We got an amazing topic to talk about today. I'm sharing it now. Come chat with me. And so I'm sure that you already saw the topic that we are talking about today. And it's simply, you have enough to build again. You have enough to build again. And I know that's a loaded statement. I know you're probably saying, Dr. Vaughn, you have no clue what I am dealing with. You have no clue what I've encountered. You don't know the whirlwind that I'm in. You don't know what I've lost. You don't know what they've taken. You don't know what they snatched from me. Yes, that may be true. I may not know the specifics of exactly what you have encountered, but I do understand and know that you have enough to build again. What you possess now, what is in your hand now, what you have left is enough to build exactly what God promised you. Many of us seem to think that if we don't have this big plethora of money, or we don't have this great support system, or we don't have all of this big vision as we think it is, then therefore God cannot manifest what it is that He's promised us. But I beg to differ. Many of us now, where we had to go through a shattering, we had to go through where God had to break down the walls, we had to go through where God had to pull down some areas in our life. Hey, Lily, we had to go through those seasons because some of us were dragging around stuff that were never meant to go with us. Some of us were actually carrying people and things that were never meant and designed for us. Some of us were attached to things that were literally draining our life source. Some of us were attached to things out of obligation. And guilt and shame. Hey, Aunt Jackie, some of us were connected to things that really weren't serving us a good purpose. They really weren't doing it. Hey, Aunt Judy, they really weren't doing what God had placed in our lives. And God had to send a whirlwind so that it could shake up, so that we could have a cutting that needed to happen so that we could get to where we needed to be. Listen. I am trying to help you understand that sometimes we have to look, hey, TT, hey, Janella, hey, Brigitte, sometimes we have to look at what we're dealing with a different lens. Some of us are dealing with our storms as a means of a consequence, or as a means of God being angry with us. But some of us are in the middle of storms, in the middle of separation, in the middle of cutting and pressing, because God is trying to get us to where we need to be. So some walls had to be torn down. Some relationships had to be cut. Some connections had to be shattered, because God needed you to actually get rid of the contaminated debris that was in your atmosphere, grab a part of the healing and wholeness that you needed to get in order to get to where you needed to be. You cannot go into this next season carrying around the wounds and the frailties of your past season. You cannot go into this new season carrying around the disappointment and the weight of the abandonment and the abuse that you dealt with in the last season. So God allowed some of the stuff, the wall, to shatter so that you can look up, find the pieces that are whole, and allow the debris to blow away. Woo! I'm trying to help somebody. He allowed the wall to fall so you can see the pieces that were whole, that were solid, the pieces that were left that were solid, and then the rest of the debris could just blow away. Let me paint the picture for you. If you knock down a wall, yes, that wall shatters, but when you look on the ground, there are pieces of whole cement still left. Then there is some dusty and fragments that's all over, but there are some pieces of solid cement still left. And so God is beginning to actually send winds and send storms to tear down what we thought we needed so that we could see what was solid, so that what was fluid and what was fragile can just blow away. Okay. And once you get to that point, you have to realize that what God allows to remain is enough for you to manifest what God has spoken over your life. You don't need a tribe of 1,000 people. You don't need a team of 20 people. You don't need a support system of 20 people. Sometimes you just need that solid 3 or 4 people that will back you, that will pour into you, that will support you, that will push you. We are looking at the wrong thing, guys. We are thinking that we got to have this prestige. We are thinking that we got to be connected to the right. Some of us have so much power locked up in us, but because we don't have a name, we're not using it. Because we don't have a position, we're not using it. Hey, Deanna, how are you? Because somebody didn't validate us yet, we're not using it. But I came by today to tell you, you have enough to build again. I know it seemed like you lost everything. This last season seemed like you lost literally everything. But I dare you, come here, Moses, what's in your hand? Moses was saying, I don't know how I'm going to get the children of Israel across this Red Sea. I got the Red Sea in front of me. I got a mountain behind me. I got Pharaoh's army behind me. God, how am I going to get over this obstacle? How am I going to face? Because right now it looks like death. Right now it looks like it's over. And it just like that, God began to say, Moses, what's in your hand? Moses, I can only imagine, began to look at what was in his hand. It was just a stick, y'all. Probably a stick that he picked up along the way. Somebody catch it. Probably a stick that he picked up along the way. Probably a stick, that he picked up in the wilderness. So what was in Moses' hand was something that he picked up in the middle of his storm. It was something he picked up along the way. And here it is. God begins to use what was in Moses' hand. He said, Moses, stretch out what's in your hand. I'm sure Moses was like, oh, this little piece of wood, what is it going to do, God? What is it going to do? Immediately, when Moses began to trust God with what was in his hand, he stretched it out and a miracle took place. The waters backed up. The children was able to walk over on dry land. What are you trying to say, Dr. Vaughn? You have something in your hand that is so powerful and you don't even know it. Okay. You have something so powerful in your hand. I'm sure Moses didn't think that stick was going to do anything. But when you begin to trust God and begin to allow God to manifest things in your life, it doesn't matter what you think about what's in your hand. You have enough to do exactly what God told you. You have enough to do exactly what God told you. So for those of you that are listening to me, you started that business and it plundered, but you know what? Guess what? You still got that vision, right? You got enough to build again. For those of you who, that relationship almost took you out of here, had you questioning your self-worth, had you questioning your value, had you questioning whether or not you were beautiful, guess what? Because you are still here and you're on this live today, you have enough in you to build again. You have enough in you to produce what you need to produce. You have enough in you to manifest what God has placed in you. You have enough in you. Stop looking. We got to get out of this looking at everybody else. Stop comparing yourself to everybody else. What you have is enough. Somebody say, what I have is enough. That's what I want y'all to type in the comments. What I have is enough. Because too often we are not walking in the full manifestation of what God promised us because we don't think that it's good enough. We don't think that it's powerful enough. We don't think that it's strong enough. We don't think that, that it's going to reach enough people. No. What I have is enough. What God gave me is enough. The portion God gave me is enough. That's right. What I have is enough. What you have is enough. That vision God gave you is enough. That idea that God gave you is enough. That gift that God gave you is enough. That anointing that's on your life is enough. What you have is enough. So stop sitting on that vision. Stop sitting on what you know God is supposed to do, what he's waiting to do in your life, simply because you don't think you're enough. Hey, Octavia, you don't think that you're enough. Well, I came by to reassure you and reaffirm you and send you the validation you've been waiting for. What you have is enough. So my question to you on this lunchtime empowerment talk is, what have you been sitting on that you didn't think was enough? Ooh, I'm asking you. What have you been sitting on? That's right. See, Deanna, see, they in my empowerment group. They know you got to put your name on it sometime. I see you, Deanna. I see you. I teach my ladies in my empowerment group. Sometimes you gotta put your name to it. You gotta make it so strong and declare and tag your name to it. But I ask you today, what have you been sitting on that you didn't think was enough? What is it? What is that thing that you have not produced because you didn't think it was good enough? What is that move that you did not make because you didn't think you were good enough? What is that ministry that you did not launch because you didn't think you were good enough? What are you sitting on that you didn't think was good enough? And then to take it a step further, who told you that it wasn't good enough? Woo! I'm trying to help somebody today. Who told you that it wasn't good enough? Let me answer that for you. Most of the time, it's situations and circumstances make us think that it's not good enough. It begins to consume our mind to begin to make us think that it's not good enough. Oh, but let me help you understand something. There is a set of people that is tied to what you got to say out of your mouth. I don't care if it's just somebody on your job. I'm going to say it again. There is a set of people that is tied to what you got to say out of your mouth, or something you can create with your hands, or something you can write with your pen. I'm trying. Why am I saying that? Because I'm trying to help you to understand. There is a set of people that are waiting to be delivered by what's in your mouth. They are waiting to be set free by what's in what you can write with your pen. They are waiting to be encouraged and empowered, what you can create with your hands that can strengthen them. They are waiting. They are sitting and waiting. God has assigned them to your voice. You don't need to be called prophet, apostle, bishop, preacher, teacher. You are a child of the Most High God. When God created you, he put purpose and destiny inside of you. And you have to begin to tap into that purpose and that destiny and say, the measure God gave me is enough. What? Okay. The measure God gave me is enough. When I begin to realize that what God gave Shabana was enough, that's when I begin to actually walk in the authenticity of who he created me to be. When I realized that what God gave me was enough, I don't care if nobody on earth validated it. What God put inside of me was not just enough. It was destined for me to produce what God called me to produce. The measure he gave me. So no, I may not do it or say it like somebody else. I may not flow with somebody else. I may not use the diction that somebody else does. I may not have the charisma that somebody else does. I may not have the presentation that somebody else does. But I do know that the measure that God has placed on my life, when I open up my mouth and say what God has placed in my spirit, things begin to shift and things begin to change. So, what are you saying, Dr. Vaughn? I'm saying that what I had was enough. What I had was enough. And y'all, it got to a point where I didn't think I had much of nothing. Okay. You gonna be real? It got to a point where I didn't think I had much of nothing. I didn't think what I said mattered. I didn't think my oil mattered because of situations and circumstances. You know, when people don't validate you, you begin to question. Hey, sis, you begin to question your power and your anointing. You begin to question your worth and your value because of your waiting for validation from people. But when I begin to realize that the measure of grace, the measure of the anointing, the measure of oil that was given to me, If I never do it like anybody else and God only assigns 25 people to my voice, then guess what? I have enough to build what God told me to build. So if you got to start over, if you're building back over, what you have right now is enough for you to build what God said. Yep, that's what I came by to tell you. I just came to shoot straight from the hip. What you have right now is enough for you to build what God said. Trust me. And if you build what God said from what you have right now, trust me, God is a man. He got to do it for his namesake. He's going to manifest what it is he promised you simply because you used what was in your hand. Okay. Use what's in your hand. Listen, stop looking at the methods that other people are using, and that's the measuring stick that you're measuring whether or not you have enough. Okay. Why are we using a comparison to other people to measure whether or not we got what God said we got? No, I'm not measuring myself by anybody. I am only measuring myself by the person I used to be. Oh, did y'all hear what I said? I am only measuring myself from the person I used to be. And why am I doing that? Because I'm trying to make sure that I'm better than the person I used to be. That's the only person I'm in competition with. Every day I'm trying to be better, and I'm trying to figure out ways that I can continue to grow, ways that I continue to birth what God has placed inside of me. What God has placed in my hand. I can't function it like, case in point, my sister Chrissy is on here. When I tell y'all, the playwright, when I tell you, okay, I'm gonna put it out there. Let me put it out there. And this is not no disrespect, anything, Tyler Perry, nothing like that. But when I tell you the all that's on her life to begin to write things that transcends atmospheres during her playwriting, that begins to transcend and to begin to change lives through what she writes, guess what? I am so proud and excited to be connected to her, but I'm not measuring myself by the way she does things, because God didn't give me that literary genius. Okay. Y'all want to talk real to me today? That's not what he gave Shavonna. He didn't give Shavonna the literary. I can't put a pen to the paper and write a playwright that actually can come in and begin to shift an atmosphere, both in the secular and the church and the religious sector. That ain't my gift. So am I supposed to think that I don't have enough, or I'm not good enough because I don't have the same gift she got? No. What I do is I celebrate, buy a ticket, tell her, let's go. I collaborate with her and say, boo, I need you. I need what you got. And I keep on using what God gave me to birth what he assigned to me. It's the same thing with Deanna, with Adrian, with Octavia, with Jackie. You have to begin to use what God gave you to manifest what God gave you. And I know, before I get off here, I know some of you have probably went through the most devastating seasons of your life where it seemed like marriages failed, jobs failed, family relationships failed, connections failed, friendships fell apart, people grew apart. It probably seasons of your life where you thought you almost was going to lose your mind. And you probably got to a point and said, what's the point? What? It's no point. There's no point in me doing nothing at this point. I done lost everything. I might as well just exist. Well, I came by today to snatch you up out of that existing spirit and tell you that you have enough to build again. It's time for you to live. Somebody type in the comments, I'm building to live. I'm building to live. I'm not building to exist. I am building to live. I am not building just to be here. I am building to live. I am building to live. Why? Because God gave me something major. I am building to live. I don't care if you just got a hospitality ministry. I am building to live. I don't care if you just got a mentoring program. I am building to live. I don't care if you are a caterer. I am building to live. I don't care if God gave you the anointing to be able to transcend with hugs and smiles. I am building to live. I am building to live. We're not existing anymore. We're not just existing anymore. We are not just existing anymore. We're not just existing anymore. I am building to live. And if what God assigned to you is just hospitality, that you have the ability to smile and brighten and encourage somebody, walk in it. God gave you the ability to cook a meal and make somebody feel like they're the most important. Cook it. God gave you the ability to write it. God gave you the ability to empower. God gave you the ability to preach. He gave you the ability to be an accountant and help somebody. Do it. Whatever the measure God gave to you today, I don't care what state or you find yourself in your journey, you have enough to build again. What's in your hand is enough. What's in your hand was enough. I know you thought that last relationship you would never love again. You would never recover from it. Nope. The measure in you got enough to build again. You're not dead. If you watching me, you're not dead. So now is the time to build to live. We're not existing anymore. Too much at stake. Too much at stake. Too much at stake. We are building to live. I preached a sermon on Sunday that said, I'm building back better. Why do you say that, Dr. Vaughn? Because I believe, and this is just for me. This is just for me. You can take it if you want to, but let me just testify. I just believe that not only am I building back, I'm building back better than what fell apart. Oh, don't get me filled up again today. I am not just building back, but I am building back better than what fell apart. I am not just building back, I am building back better than what didn't work. I am not just building back, I am building back better than what they thought they snatched from me. I am not just building back, I am building back better than my mind ever thought I would be able to have. This season of my life is called better. Woo! This season of my life, y'all, is called better. This season of my life is called better. I'm not just building back what was, I'm building back better. I'm not just building back so I can say, oh, I got that back. No, what I'm building back now is better. I'm in my season of better. Somebody type that, I'm in my season of better. Put your name on it. Say, Shavonna, you in your season of better. Deanna, you're in your season of better. Nikki, you're in your season of better. Erlene, you're in your season of better. Jackie, you're in your season of better. Janella, you're in your season of better. Octavia, you're in your season of better. Adrian, you're in your season of better. That's I'm in my season of better. I'm in my season of better. And so that's what I jumped on here. That's right, Tia, you're in your season of better. That's right. Tag your name to it, honey. Because when you put that's right, Brigitte, you're in your season of better. When you begin to tag your name, I teach all of my mentees and I teach everyone. I have an empowerment group called Manifesting Your More with Dr. Vaughn on Facebook. And I teach those women in there, whenever you make a declaration, tie your name to it. Because when you tie your name to it, you serve the enemy notice that this is what I'm saying for me. I'm not just putting it in the atmosphere for everybody. And I love y'all. But when I begin to make declarations, I begin to make declarations over myself. Shavonna, you are in your season of better. And I believe that God is helping me to build back better. I have enough. I have enough. What I have left is enough. What I have left is enough. And so that's all I wanted to talk to you about today. What you have left is enough. And so I hope that someone who needed that push, you needed that encouragement, I hope you got it today. I hope you grab it, share it with somebody, tell somebody at your job, tell your coworker, tell your cousin, tell your sister girl, tell your best friend, tell your mama and them, tell your grandmama, tell them you got enough. I don't care. I don't care how old you are. You got enough to build again. You got enough to build again. And what you got left is enough. What you got left is enough. And so I just wanted to jump on, as always, to push you and to encourage you with a little lunchtime empowerment talk on our Tuesday at 1 p.m. And so thank you all for joining and sharing in with me. Make sure you like and share this video. And listen, God is doing some amazing things. So if you haven't already done, go down there to that website, www.shavonnawhitehead.com. Click that subscribe button. Stay connected to me. When you subscribe, you also subscribe to our newsletter that we send out, which will be coming out on Thursday this week. Listen, stay connected to us. God is up to something. And guess what? I'm using the measure that he gave me. That's all I got. I'm using the measure that he gave me. And whoever I'm assigned to, I'm using the measure that he gave me. And so you use your measure to begin to shift and begin to build. Why? Because you are building to live. You're building to live. You're not existing anymore. So tell yourself today, I am no longer existing. I'm living. I'm no longer existing. I am living. And later on today, I will be actually posting our next Break the Box cohort will be in June. We only have 10 spots available because it's an intimate cohort. I don't take more because we deal with some delicate things. I only take 10 slots. And so I will be posting that later on today. If you are interested, it will be uploaded to our website this afternoon. And listen, my goal is that God will be pleased with me and that someone will be empowered, someone will be strengthened, and someone's life will be forever changed. Not because of me, because of the God in me. I only do what God allows me to do. And so I love each and every one of you. Hope you have an amazing day. Be sure, stay connected to us. So go down there to www.shavonnawhitehead.com. Click that subscribe tab and stay connected to us. And guess what? We are actually starting next month. Oh, no, starting the end of this month. We are starting with in-person sessions. So not only will Dr. Vaughn, be having the lunchtime empowerment talks at 1 p.m., but we will start having in-person sessions the end of this month. So listen, I love each and every one of you. Have an amazing day on and in purpose. And know you have enough to build again. Have a great day, everyone.